here's the painting from today's video. Voila. If you think it sucks, you're probably correct. But that's not going to deter me from doing said sucky painting. So, let us begin, shall we? We have woman smoking a cigarette, wearing glasses and a necklace. She has hair, and she has a nose and an ear. We don't see the other ear. And yeah, that's gonna like get painted on this canvas thing. So join me for the adventure. I'm quite inspired by the idea of suffering in a crowd and smoking to cope with that, so that's going to be fueling my artistic expression today. So we will just begin and get a drawing going, and then for the 10 or so people that watch this video, I hope you enjoy. I was up too late last night, so it's 4 o'clock and I haven't done anything. Just a nice productive day in the life of Daniel, but now we get to alleviate that by spending an hour and a half and spending some time painting, so that's cool. I'm gonna have to think how I want to proportion this, how much room I want to leave for this cast shadow coming off the neck, where I want the chin to go. I think I can go a little further over than that. We've got to leave some space for that left lens of her glasses. But there's not tons, it's not taking up tons of room, so if we have the side of the face about here, this is probably enough for those glasses to make an appearance on that side. Maybe wrap around the top of the head here. On these little canvases, and it is little, I've been doing all my videos on these little canvases because I'm just need to get myself doing art, and when you commit to a smaller canvas you can be done a lot quicker. Yeah, on these small canvases it can be hard to proportion things and so that everything fits on it and without running off. So I'll do my best, but already it kind of feels like it might be going a little big on the head. So I'll just go a little higher, just so that whatever margin of error in my drawing happens at this stage, I leave some room, so that if I make it too tall, it won't be too wide as well, if that makes sense. If you make, the height and width of the head is fixed, right? So as you scale the height, you're going to scale the width as well. So I'm trying to keep it so that ear doesn't run off the canvas, which happened in my last painting from yesterday. Looks like it's going to happen again though. Same funky situation where the ear's going to be here running off. The shadow side of this drawing isn't like super important to nail because it's gonna get lost into the background very likely. This side matters a little more, but it is just the line for the jaw, so it's also easier to get right. So that helps make it a little bit easier. Really the challenge is going to be getting the cigarette in the right spot and get it to pop, get it to read. The cigarette and the nose in this right lens of the pair of sunglasses, those are going to be kind of the main features to get right. If I can get that right, then the painting will be in the right spot. Think about the height where I want the eyeglasses to go. Just tilt it down a little bit. But her forehead is pretty big. Think about the line the top of these glasses are headed. Think about that angle. We're looking down at her from this direction, if that makes sense. We're looking this way at her. So the horizon line's around here, and it's going to be going this way towards the vanishing point, about there maybe. And the chin's going to do the same thing. It's going to tilt slightly this direction towards the same vanishing point. Already does feel like I need more on the top of the head, but it might just be because I got this little curve is cutting in too far. But I'm not going to get too peddly with it. It's too early for that. Just getting some bloody lines going. Mess around with all that junk later. We just need to get something rolling. Yeah, those glasses. They need to come more to there. And gonna make this lens too big if I had it where I had marked initially. Made a smudgy mess right where I'm trying to draw now. That's always nice. Getting kind of more of the cast shadow than the lens itself right now. You don't even have to draw this lens in. It just blends right into the shadow of the face. This lens you have to give a little thought to. Generally get where the ear's going. side of the face over here is also too wide. I'm gonna carve into that, even though it's gonna get lost into the background. I still feel like having a loose idea of where it is kind of a good idea, because it's going to affect the way I draw the rest of the face. Get a little warm. A little warmer here. We're getting a little closer to the lips. The color you use to draw all this stuff isn't like super important. But if you just adjust it a little bit as you move around the contours, it can make your life easier later on in the painting. If you're outlining with blue around the lips, and they're supposed to be red or whatever, then it's something you have to fart around with later to get right. Chin's probably gonna need to get a little bigger. But this space here for the filter in is close to right. Doing that actual lip on this one's gonna be a challenge because they're very tight around that cigarette. So it's just gonna be a very small indication. It's extra hard on a small canvas. Go ahead and just shoot in where I think that cigarette is going to go, as well as get the length approximated, looking at where the chin ends. I think the chin needs to get a little lower, but I'm also looking at where the cigarette ends in relation to the chin, and it's about like that. So given that I think the chin needs to come down a wee bit, I'm going to make the cigarette a little longer too. And if it gets too long, that's okay. You can just cover it up with the background right at the end of it. Try and get the thickness right as well. Looking a little thick, but that's probably better. It's usually easier to carve into these little shapes and let them be a little bigger than they need to be at the start, than to try and blast over that white later on. Make the chin a little lower. Just a little bit. Proportionally, at this point, I think I made the head a little wide. But I'll tune that as the painting goes along. Or I'll miss it and it'll just be off and whatever. Life will go on. And I'll just have this misproportioned head lying in my closet rotting. And decades or centuries later, they'll stumble upon it and go, oh, he got the proportions wrong on that. And my bones will roll over in my grave. And I'll go, no, why didn't I get it right? I think the only answer is who cares? This photo was taken close to sunset. All the shadows, all the cast shadows are very horizontal. And the sun is obviously low in the sky. You can see off this shadow off the neck how horizontal that is. That it's probably, 5 or 6 at least. Yeah, depending on what season you're in. But yeah, it's close to sunset. And, using that information, it gives you a couple details, that things are going to be a little more vibrant. Highlights aren't going to be as cool necessarily. Because the light is so warm. Average flesh tone is going to be warmer. And then, yeah, of course, the shadows. Just think the ear needs to be a little bigger than I have it right now. Going with a little darker color so that stands out against all my trash drawing lines I'm trying to compete with. Okay, cool. It kind of feels like the reference. Plenty of drawing issues, whatever. But it has the feel of lady wearing glasses, smoking a cigarette, etc. And so, yeah, we can move on from generic drawing stage and fill in some shadows after a quick drink of water. Gotta make that sound after drinking water or you don't get any refreshment out of it. Gotta press your psychology, make those noises and get the psychosomatic benefits of gaslighting your body into feeling refreshed. Just fill in all this. Should go even more red into that. These glasses have a bunch of warmth in them. Definitely made the bottom of that. Definitely made the bottom of these frames too low on this part. I'll just eat into that with flesh tone. Just the same warm color all in here. Just start off unified, start off warm. We can work in some variation and some cools in later. Even just cover the little end of the cigarette there that's in shadow. Just cover that up and unify it with a shadow underneath the neck and on the chin. I like this just real simple shadow here. It's too low because it should be butt up right against the chin. But again, I'll adjust that later. I joined this little form shadow that's actually on the chin itself right there with the shadow on the neck underneath the chin. So the chin itself is actually a little lower than it looks right now. So keeping that in mind, it's not too far off, but later on I'll just cover this edge with flesh and I'll eat into that shadow so that it's in the right spot. But this is a nice straight line here. I think it makes for good design to keep any chance you have at making a cast shadow really crisp and straight and simple is a good opportunity. It makes a clean, simple design that reads pretty effectively. Go a little more yellow and black when I put the hair in. I still want it to go in warmer than it really is. Because there's plenty of warmth in it, but it shouldn't be as red as the flesh. So when you mix yellow and black in there, you darken it and cool it off, because you're essentially adding green to the mix. Make sure it's not too thick. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Time to mix up a flesh tone. Definitely need, whenever you get a pile with, I'm trying to get quite a bit lighter than what I have there. And there's quite a bit of paint in that already. So rather than add a truckload of white to it, I just ignore that pile, move what's on my brush over to another spot, and start mixing white into it. Otherwise, you can use all the white on your palette trying to lighten it up. That being said, I think it does need more yellow. The temperature needs to be tilted quite orange, given the time of day. So I'm not going to add really any black to it to cool it down. I'm just going to use those three simple colors and see what that gives me. And it could be a little warmer, especially on the forehead. So I'll modify it a little, and then I won't obsess. I can always work back into it and throw in color notes where I want them. Yeah, this is not going down at all, so I'm going to thin it down. here's where this lens meets the cast shadow coming off the lens. So I'm leaving a little stair step there as a note that that's where I want that. You can see if you look in the reference what's going on there. Normally it would be, this shadow would be right underneath the lens, but because it's coming so horizontally, you have to think about leaving a gap between those. Can pretty much lose this jaw into the neck. There's very little separating those two, and I can indicate later with a little smidge of halftone there where the jaw is. But for now, just losing that is a good call. And just think about the temperature change. It gets redder as you get into the neck. It's more of a sunburn look. A little bit darker, but not much. can see there I made my my line too thick and drawn the air, and now it's actually mixing with the paint I'm trying to put down. And given I use the dark color, it's fighting my intention right now. Adding a little touch of black as I work into the chin. Just the tiniest bit. A little more red, a little more black. Makes it a little more violet, a little more cool, a little darker as well. Your chin, especially, this one being tucked down a little bit, it's not catching as much light. And so you can mix it a little bit darker, just a little bit. It will help it look like the light is rolling from areas of very light to medium light to a little bit dimmer. Give you some of the subtlety you're looking for. Gonna definitely need to tune up the shape of that lens later on. Right now I'm just gonna finish up what I started with this flesh tone. Filling around the lips. I'm going to go very warm on this cast shadow. As warm as I can get. Right underneath the glasses. Just see what that looks like. Not too bad. I think it's could still go a little, almost pure red. That shadow's way too soft. It needs a crisp edge on it, but that's going to be hard to get now that there's paint down there. What I want to do is make sure it's the appropriate value, make sure it's dark enough, and then I'll cake some flesh tone with a flat brush and with a crisp line where I think the contour is. Hopefully that'll give me the contrast I'm looking for. Okay, all that's left is the nose for this stage. Get a little more orange into it than the rest of the face, because it looks more orange to me. At least this side of it. On the top of the nose, it's more red, more violet. And get this half tone rolling where we meet this coarse shadow on the forehead. It's part of what is looking wrong with the nose. It's a little dark, but part of it is just that these other areas need to be darker as well to give it context. Okay. I think it's time to get some background color in here. And just this disgusting shape over here that doesn't match with the lens over here. You can see this looks just totally cattywampus. I gotta pick a starting mix for the background. Gotta think what the right direction is to go tonally. I feel for this one like the way to go is a little bit lighter and a little bit cooler. For whatever reason, you can go either way, but this side of the face, if it's all shadow, it's going to get completely lost. I think what I want to do is go a little lighter and have some areas of mid-tone that I can lose the shadow into and make softer. I want some information. I want this lens over here to not get completely lost. I was thinking when I started this painting maybe I'd go darker, and that's usually a good default, but I feel like middle value or even a little lighter is going to be interesting, at least to start, and then I can modify. The other thing I'm looking at some of these cool highlights in the reference that are going to go on top of these lenses here. If I have the background a little bit cooler, a little bit lighter, it's going to look like some of that atmospheric light is what's influencing that, so it's going to give it some compositional balance as well. So this is just black and white. I think I might add a tinge of red to it. I don't want it to be just black and white because that's as blue as this palette can get. I'd rather save that end of the range for later if I need it. So I'm going to dull it down with my two other colors, my red and orange, so that A, it's not so alien, and B, like I said, I can save the grayest mixture I can make for later if I want to go a little bit further in that direction. Right now I'm just seeing how I like that. Seeing what I think. How that feels. Seeing how it is if I go a little more yellow. Spots. A little more red in others, seeing what it's like, what the effect is. I like going a little redder near the face. I think that's a good call. This spot here, good spot to go a little darker to help the ear pop. this is too much paint for this stage. I'm going to scrape a little bit back. That way I can work over that a little more later. Funny thing right now is this is looking, you know, I mean, it's got a lot of the reference going on in it, but it's looking very duty, like we did the wrong the wrong sex on this person. So I think a lot of that's the hair, because this pose is very aggressive with the clenching the cigarette and glasses. It's a little bit ambiguous. You know, I think the hair is a lot of the story of the person's gender. And so right now we're just looking like a short-haired, middle-aged dude smoking a cigarette. But with luck, we will look like a middle-aged woman smoking a cigarette in time. Yeah, I'm not farting around with this area. I got a clip block in it. Not worth my time. I think I'll take a little break though and catch up on my hydration. Psychosomatically trick my body into being refreshed. Then I'll come back and progress to the next stage of this beautiful conglomeration of paint on canvas. I will return, my darlings. Have no fear. Let us continue, shall we? Let's see. I'd like to mess with some of these edges before I do anything else.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Oh, okay. That's nice. That's nice, Alexa. Yeah, you weren't gonna help me.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Okay. That's great. Yeah, you're not gonna help me with my painting. That's. What are you good for if you're not gonna paint this damn thing for me? Thanks for nothing, Amazon. That was interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna mess with some of these edges here. The paint on my palette is quite dry because I had dinner. So I need to remix a lot of these colors and maybe add a little oil to them so that they're usable for me. The top of this shadow is very soft relative to the rest of it. And the rest of it is softer than I have it here. But the top of it is uber soft. Obviously a lot of these shadows, or a lot of this area where the hair meets the skin needs a lot of work as well. I'm going to, I think, start by putting down some of those blonde streaks. Instead of just mixing this flesh tone into the dark of the hair, I want to bridge the two. Because there's a lighter area in the hair where those two meet. And if I put this down first, then when I weave them together, it'll look appropriate. So I got the mix just right, and then put it in. I'll go just into straight oil. And I'll use that to help make this paint glide to where I want it. I feel like I need a little bit of a bigger brush. Let's try this one. Put a little paint on it because it's not showing up the way I want it to. Wish I could work on some of the stuff going on the bun. It's right there where the clip is. I might throw something in there after the painting's done. Everywhere else, pull it down and off these and mess about with it. I'm gonna mix up two colors here. I'm gonna mix up the two main things I see going on in the glasses, which is a warm dark and a extremely red light section that's, you know, quite a bit darker than the flesh because it's being filtered through the sunglasses, but is relatively pretty light compared to this dark I'm putting in. And I can go a step darker than this too if I want. In fact, I might have gone a little too dark. I need to go redder. We'll have to decide. And this is the eye behind the glass lens, but especially with when you're doing eyes that are obstructed by something like a pair of glasses, way better to just look at the shadow shape and put it in abstractly. The same's pretty much true when you're putting an eye in unobstructed, but especially when it's hidden. Think more abstractly. Time to get in that warm red. Let's see what that looks like, just putting it in. It's not far off from what I need. I just want a tinge of white. Touch of yellow too. Yeah, more yellow than white. Let's see what that does. Yeah, I think what I need to do here, in the reference it's red, it's basically the same red as here on the flesh, but the reason it's red here is because of the guy's shirt in the background. So I think I need to move away from that and just put the background color where I have this. I think that makes a lot more sense. It's always weird on these little paintings to take a 2-hour break and come back, because so much of these is about just staying in the flow of the moment and working from start to finish, and you lose that meditative state and the course of action that you'd planned before when you take a break and come back to it. So it makes it a little bit challenging. I need more red in a minute. In fact, I think I need to just do it now. think it's time to get that cigarette in. But I'm going to start by working around the mouth so that that's all set up for the cigarette to go in. The color's too violet. The temperature is just throwing it off. Apologies. Bodily functions may occur. Alright, I think it's cigarette time. So I'm gonna go smoke and come back and keep painting. No, I'm gonna paint the cigarette. Oh, that was fun. I think the butt of the cigarette needs to be a little bit, needs a little more pop though, so. Yeah, that's not gonna do it. That's too gray. Hard to get the vibrant orange I'm looking for here. It's not that vibrant, but relative to my palette, it's pretty vibrant. I think what I'm gonna do is, instead of trying to make the butt pop more, I'm gonna get more shadow around it. The cleft needs to be reestablished in shadow. So that'll give me what I need. If I can get it dark enough. Just use that, that's fine. There we are. That's a little better. A little red on the lip underneath it. Should go a long ways as well. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Just get this contour rolling a little bit better. And just completely blow that out. This doesn't exist where the face meets the shoulder on that side. It doesn't exist. It was never real. Okay, well, most of the painting is in. So at this point, it's a good idea to try and do what's important for the painting, because I'm not going to be spending tons more time on it, given the nature of this practice. So what's missing is some highlights and a little bit of edge work, a couple spots of dark. Nose definitely needs some love. And then, we'll see what else. One thing I feel like I could do is just quieten down this area and the neck. I'm just talking too much. Oh, that's where my white goes. Right. I mean, what am I gonna do? I'm an artist. I've got 4 colors. And I don't know which is which, so, you know. Pretty sure I just lost all my honor. But I didn't have much, so who cares? This thing's disgusting, so, I mean, I think it's time for a new paper towel. Do a little baby restock. All of my brushes are completely soiled at this point. When I do highlights, I'm gonna have to either clean one of them or bloody get a new brush to work with. I kind of still feel like I need a little pop in here, so I'm just gonna use straight red because I want to live a little. Yeah, I think that was a good call. I think that's pretty cool. And then here needs an indication of the frame. Oh, now I need more red. And just swallowed all that up. Glasses can be a nightmare. That's not wise. This is too delicate of an area. I can't work in there. I'm so tempted to mess around with the hair, but there's just like the whole world blocking me from trying to do anything like that. I guess I could like get in a couple highlights on this end, but it's not really working with me. Couple warm darks in here. I think would go a long way. Let's see what this looks like. A little bit darker. Yeah, that's alright. I mean, hair's pretty mediocre. But I think it'll be fine. I'm just gonna finish the rest of this practice painting and get some good highlights in and call it a day. What brush? Maybe this guy. Okay, so those are like the pre-highlights almost. Those are preparing the main highlights. It's kind of like, I don't know, the appetizer highlights or something. You got to put those down before you can bring out the entree highlights. Let's see if I can shift this over just a little bit. just enough to get a hint of hair in that bun end. It doesn't really work. That's fine. My mixtures are too dirty, and there's just not really the space to work with to get the effect I'm looking for. And so, because of that, I'm going to just ignore what's going on in the back of that head. And people can use their imaginations. I didn't mind what was going on in this corner before. I just feel like getting a white patch somewhere because of the white patch on the cigarette. I want to have that color somewhere else in the painting. I guess the last question to answer is if I want to get any of that necklace in. There's a significant part of me that says no, because then I have to do it. And I don't really want to. But I kind of really am not a fan of just like the bare chest thing going on here. I think a little chain going like that would look kind of cool. So I don't know. I think maybe I will. But in order to pull it off, I need more red and black paint for the shadow underneath it. But yeah, this is definitely the part where your laziness makes decisions more than your creativity or what you think actually would be good for the painting. Including when you've already made your decisions, like now I've decided, okay, I guess I'll put in this necklace here. But this is the point where I'll get lazy rush it in, be like, no, that looks terrible. I'm gonna take it back, and the painting won't let me. And I'll say, why didn't I just stop? Why did I bother? But I think just a little indication would be kind of cool. I mean, I didn't even put the actual necklace in, just the shadow of it. And I kind of like it. You could almost just not even bother putting the necklace in and let the shadow tell the story. But that's cheap, so I'm not going to do that. I'll just mix up a nice steely gray. Make sure it's dark enough. And let's see what happens. I'll just do like a little cross-hatchy thing almost. And then I think what makes metal really look like metal is the specular highlights of almost pure white. Still think I need to put a little more shadow behind that to back it up. So I'll probably do that first and then proceed with that highlight idea. Just a little more definition. For this indication. Alright, let's see how this looks. Just some little itty bitty shines on here. Yeah, it's not too bad for just blasting it in last second. Couple of areas where it's softer. will help it, I think. Not be too overstated. A couple areas where we eat in with the flesh tone, so it's not too thick. Okay. I'm cool. I'm cool just calling up there. So I'm getting tired, and I think I have had another fruitless study, which is what it's all about. Fruitless studies and little improvement over the course of a lot of time gets you absolutely nowhere. And that's what it's all about. So I hope you have many fruitless studies as well. I hope you didn't enjoy watching this video. And if you did, that's too bad. I'm just dicking this year up at this point. I'm not making it better. I'm just making it worse. I said my outro, and now, and I'm still touching the canvas, and now it's like my hands are like, whoa, 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 whoa. You just told people to get out of here, and you're still painting. I can't focus on painting because it's awkward. Okay, so yeah, get lost. Thanks for joining me, and have a good night. All right.